Now, yes, in the last session, we were discussing about water chapter. In that, we discussed about the water turnover, water source, and water related functions. Now, today, we are going to discuss about water imbalance. So, what water imbalance means, and what are the causes and symptoms of water imbalance. Let us discuss. The water imbalance is nothing but the either excess retain of water in the body or excess water loss from the body is called as water imbalance. The intake of water is not equal to output of water. In the water imbalance, there is two important headings. One is called as overhydration and another one is called as dehydration. Overhydration is also called as water toxicity. The overhydration or water intoxication is caused by excessive retention of water in the body. So if more water retains in the body, then it causes water toxicity or overhydration. Normally there is no dietary cause for overhydration. The excess fluid or water intake in a short period of time leads to overhydration in the body in a healthy person also. The excess water is going to be removed through the urine within few hours. The overhydration generally occurs due to the abnormal decreased urine excretion. Whenever urine formation is decreased than the normal, and whenever the urine excretion is going to be disturbed, then overhydration takes place. And in the abnormal sodium retention and in the renal or kidney failure and congestive heart failure and overproduction of ADH, corticosteroid therapy, cirrhosis. In all these conditions, the overhydration is the one of the chances that can occur. It may also happen in the excessive intake of salt-free fluid after excessive sweating in hot climates. Whenever you take water without salts or minerals, then it leads to overhydration. So mineralized water or mineral water is good for body because it retains the water, or otherwise if mineral less or salt free fluids if you take, it may lead to overhydration. The symptoms of overhydration or water intoxication is associated with the dilution of ECF extracellular fluid and intercellular fluid with a decrease in osmolarity. The clinical symptoms include headache, lethargy, and convulsions. So, headache and lethargy and convulsions are the symptoms of overhydration. Suggested treatment is stoppage of water intake and administration of hypertonic saline solution with glucose. This can bring some relief from overhydration. Next is the dehydration. So, dehydration is the second part of water imbalance. The dehydration is condition characterized by water depletion in the body. It can be defined as loss of more than 10% of the body weight of water loss. And there are two types of dehydration. Whenever the water is going to be eh, loss from the body more than 10%, it leads to dehydration. The dehydration can occur due to water loss alone or otherwise due to combined deprivation of water and electrolytes. Both water and electrolytes are going to loss, thereby causing dehydration. The causes for dehydration may be due to insufficient intake of water or excessive water loss, both either less water intake or excess water loss. Both are the factors for dehydration. It can be caused as a result of reduced water intake for a prolonged period. So if you don't drink water for a longer time, it may cause dehydration. So it is a recommended that one should take sufficient amount of water, and frequent drinking of water is a must, so to keep our body saturated and then to prevent dehydration. The diarrhea, vomiting, excessive sweating, fluid loss, and in burns, illness, kidney diseases, adrenocortical dysfunctions, ADHD deficiency, and diabetic mellitus. This is the big list of disorders or diseases where it can contribute for dehydration. So these people should take extra precautionary measure to avoid dehydration conditions. Complications of dehydration. Dehydration causes a decrease in volume of ECF, extracellular fluid, and concomitant increase in the level of electrolytes, urea, plasma protein, and osmolarity. So these will get increased in the blood than the normal value. So the water is drawn from the ICF whenever the electrolyte is excess in the extracellular fluid due to loss of water. So to maintain the water level that is lost, it is going to borrow the water from intracellular fluid, resulting in the shrunken of cells. So whatever the water present inside the cells, they are going to enter into ECF to maintain the water balance in the ECF. Thereby, the loss of water in the cells causes it to shrunken, means it will get shrunken. Um, and disturbed cellular metabolism. There is also an increased protein breakdown, finally, finally resulting in loss of weight. And decrease in plasma volume will reduce cardiac output. Whenever the ECF water level is less, then it affects the cardiac output. The cardiac output is going to reduce, leading to circulatory failure. Dehydration is often accompanied by a loss of electrolytes such as sodium, potassium from the body. Even the electrolytes such as sodium and potassium, if they are going to be lost, then it causes the dehydration. Decreased DCF also stimulate ADH secretion, which result in the reduction in urine volume to affect the water retention in the body. So to maintain the water level in the body, the urine formation will be reduced to retain the water in the body. Reduction of urine excretion can cause problem, as minimum of 500 ml of urine must be produced to excrete the waste substances. To retain the water, if urine excretion is reduced, then the loss of or excretion of waste substances are also is going to affect it, and it is retained in the body, causing other complications. Next is electrolyte. The electrolytes is associated with water balance. Electro means electricity and lights means breakdown. Electrolytes means the compounds which on dissociation converted into charged molecules such as ions. So let us discuss what are these electrolytes and how they are associated with water balance. Electrolytes are inorganic substances, either mineral elements or compounds that can be readily dissociate means get separated, and then exist as charged particles as ions, either anions or cations, negative charged or positively charged atoms. The major electrolytes in the plasma are cations, which are positively charged ions: sodium Na plus, potassium K plus, calcium Ca2 plus, magnesium Mg2 plus. Some are having single charge, or some are having more than one, so monovalent or divalent, depending upon the charge they carry. Similarly, anions, which are negatively charged ions: air chloride, Cl minus, bicarbonate, HCO3 minus, sulfate, SO4 2 minus. In this also, some carry single negative charge and some carries two negative charge, monovalent anions or divalent anions. Like that, these cations and anions are the product of dissociation of electrolyte. If you take sodium chloride, NaCl present in the food, for example salt, the salt we use in the cooking process, the kitchen salt, that is Na plus table salt, is going to dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus, which is going to play a very important role in our water balance. Hence we are consuming salt or using salt in the cooking process, not just for the taste, it is because of the requirement of the body of electrolytes, which in turn is going to maintain water balance. Composition of electrolytes in the body fluids. So these electrolytes, how much they are present in our body fluids, that we are going to discuss. They are usually expressed in milliequivalents per liter of the blood. So blood or serum. Composition of electrolytes in ECF plasma or serum electrolyte level. Concentration of electrolytes are expressed in milliequivalents per liter. Here you can see two columns. One is cations and another column is anions. Positive charged cations, negative charged anions. In cations, Na plus, K plus, Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus, you can see subsequent milliequivalent concentration of these ions, and totals all the combined forms in the cation 155 milliequivalents, whereas anion, here you can see Cl, HCO3, HP4, SO4 carrying negative charge, and their subsequent levels in the ECF, and also with protein and organic acids. So in the total of anions equaling to 155 milliequivalents. So at the end you can see cations total and anions total is equal, hence it is electrically neutral. The total number of anions and the total number of cations is equal and hence electrically neutral. Next is composition of electrolyte in ICF. Previously we discussed TCF, this is ICF, intercellular fluids. Here also you can see the two columns of cations and anions, and here also you can see the cations potassium, sodium, magnesium and calcium, and their subsequent values or levels in the ICF, and the totaling all the four is 202 milliequivalents. And in the right column anions you can see HP4, HPO4, SCO3, Cl and SO4 carrying negative charge along with protein and organic acids. So all these combined together it also equal to 202 milliequivalents. So the total number of cations and anions in ICF is also equal, thereby maintaining electrolyte balance. So if any imbalance between number of cations and the number of anions, it is called as electrolyte imbalance. If it is equal, balance. If it is not equal, one is more and another one is less, then it is called as electrolyte imbalance. So regulation of electrolyte balance. So maintaining of electrolyte balance similar to water balance is very important for normal functioning or physiological activity. Electrolyte balance is closely related to water balance. Electrolyte balance is affected by water balance. Sodium chloride intake and intake of other minerals in the diet. Thus, electrolyte balance is closely related to water balance. So, yeah, if you take a simple example, if you eat salt, what you feel is you want to drink water. So, salt in turn helps you to take water. So, if you eat salt, there is a desire for drinking water. That's what the relationship between electrolyte and water. Water influences the water. Electrolyte influences the water balance. Hence, the sufficient electrolyte level in the body is a must to maintain the water level. Electrolyte balance is achieved through hormones such as aldosterone, ADH, and angiotensin system. Kidneys plays a very important role in electrolyte balance as these hormones acts through kidney. So, to maintain the electrolyte level, there are certain hormones which plays a very important role, such as aldosterone, ADH, and renin-angiotensin system. And in this, kidney plays a very important role, either in the production of hormone or either in the reabsorption of electrolytes. So let us see the first one, the function of aldosterone, how it is going to regulate electrolyte level. It is a mineralocorticoid, as the name itself indicates. Mineral means inorganic compounds, and electrolytes are inorganic in nature, and corticoid because cortex or cortico indicates adrenal cortex. So if you see the uh, production, it takes place in the adrenal cortex. So in cortex you see the first four letters CORT, and mineralo means it is related to inorganic, CORT corticoid and cortex. So that indicates it is secreted from the adrenal cortex. And aldosterone is in increases sodium reabsorption by renal tubules by in exchange of K plus and H plus ions sodium chlorine along with sodium chlorine is also absorbed. So this aldosterone helps in the reabsorption of sodium and chloride by influencing the renal tubules. As a result of sodium is reabsorbed and K plus H plus is excreted. So next is renin-angiotensin system. Renal first three letter REN, renin first three letters REN, renal REN, renin REN. It indicates this is related to kidney. So renin-angiotensin system. This system regulates aldosterone secretion. Renin is secreted by kidneys in response to decrease in ECF volume and low BP. Whenever there is a less electrolytes in the ECF, then this is secreted. Renin converts angiotensin to angiotensin 1, and angiotensin 1 is later converted to angiotensin 2 by angiotensin converting enzyme. So this you can see in this flow chart. The angiotensin 2 at the end is going to stimulate the renal cortex to secrete aldosterone, and that aldosterone in turn is going to promote the sodium and chlorine reabsorption as just discussed before in the aldosterone function. So here you can see whatever discussed in the above is showed in the flowchart. Angiotensin is converted to angiotensin 1 with the help of renin, which is secreted from the kidneys. The angiotensin 1 is converted to angiotensin 2 by angiotensin converting enzyme. The angiotensin 2 is converted to is going to influence the aldosterone secretion, and that aldosterone in turn is going to reabsorb the sodium and chlorine and thereby retain the water. Next is ADH. The ADH is also plays a very important role in electrolyte balance. When plasma osmolarity is increased due to sodium increase, ADH is released. ADH stimulates water reabsorption from the renal tubules. Aldosterone and ADH coordinate with each other to maintain the normal water and electrolyte balance. So whenever there is a excess sodium in the ECF due to loss of water, it is going to stimulate the ADH, which in turn is going to influence uh, renal tubules to reabsorb water. So ADH stimulates renal system to reabsorb the water and thereby maintaining the water balance. So the aldosterone and ADH coordinate with each other. Aldosterone may reabsorb the sodium, and whereas ADH in turn reabsorb the water, maintaining the water balance. The last one is atrial natriuretic factor. It's a polypeptide hormone secreted from the right atrium of the heart, and ANF increases the urinary sodium excretion and thereby maintaining the electrolyte level and water level in the body. Remaining we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you.